Hey y'all, and thanks so much for coming back to my channel. My name is Dion, and this is D Maria Reacts. So I'm finding out that Tim Walz is back in the news. He's on the scene, having done an interview with Rachel Maddow over on msnbc. I have not seen it yet. But I'm already hearing that he did not present himself in the best light. Let's see why that was said.
Donald Trump's reckless action cut off funding to law enforcement, farmers, schools, childcare, veterans, and healthcare. While he was out golfing, he threw the country into crisis. This is not.
First of all, got to stop him right there because he sounds crazy. Now, don't try to make it seem like President Trump is, has unmanned the steering wheel, so to speak. Like he's just having a great time and playing golf and kicking it and not doing his job. That's the implication here. I need to get straight. So, this is not Joe Biden's America. This is not Joe Biden. President Trump, the man sleeps 3 or 4 hours a night, okay? And that's his norm and has been his norm at least since he was a young adult. So don't try to make it seem like, he's goofing around, goofing off, and not doing his job. Oh, it's getting done. Believe.
Not bold, it's not leadership, it's stupid, buffoonish, childish of exactly what they did. Most folks were up all night last night as we dealt with this being thrown on there with no guidance. I know you have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions because not one damn person thought this through. I'm hearing within the last few minutes, oh no, the Medicare thing was just a fluke, it's unrelated to this. That is there is absolutely no way they didn't know exactly what they were doing.
Minnesota Governor and Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz speaking this afternoon in Minnesota in response to the Trump White House's.
Yeah, so I haven't seen this yet. I just wanted to, let y'all know. I have not seen this clip yet, so we are actually watching this together, many of us. But supposedly, Tim Walz has not presented himself in a good light with this video, so we're in for seeing some buffoonery and some childishness probably from Tim Walz. So anyway, let's see why, that is being said.
Minnesota Governor and Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Tim Walz speaking this afternoon in Minnesota in response to the Trump White House's sudden, inexplicable freeze on all federal funding. Governor Walz and state officials were sent scrambling overnight to try to deal with the expected impact of roughly $2 billion in federal funding for ongoing programs being yanked instantly and with no warning. Today, after a huge pushback across the country, the Trump administration tried to take some of it back and say they hadn't meant it. Then the freeze overall was put on hold by a federal judge. Joining us now exclusively for his first interview since the presidential election is Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Governor Walz, it's really nice to see you. Thank you for making time to be here.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you, Rachel. And great first segment, terrifying but accurate. You know what they're after, and it's not that we should be surprised by this. They laid it out in Project 2025, so here we are.
Well, actually, let me ask you about that on this point. A lot of people have been today and the last few days crediting your campaign and crediting all the reporting during the campaign that identified Project 2025 as essentially what looked like a blueprint for the incoming Trump administration to dismantle the American government. They denied it. They said they had nothing to do with it, said they'd never heard of it. Does it seem to you like that's actually what they're doing?
Oh, it is. It doesn't seem it is. We took it seriously, and I can tell your viewers tonight, governors and attorney generals took this seriously, and there was a lot of planning. There's a lot of good folks, smart folks, organizations. You talked about some of them that were out there preparing for this. But there's only so much planning you can do because of the impact it makes. And just today, I was at a Head Start program. What we have to do is we have to personalize this down to this matters to each person, because Republicans always want to talk about cutting government. That's in theoretically. They never want to be specific because we know that these programs are incredibly popular. But I can tell folks we were preparing for it. They wrote it out. If you go back and look at that now, you'll see this go step by step. And I would say, Rachel, that it was cruel. They planned it. Yes, it was somewhat buffoonish, but I'm not quite certain that we're reading that right. I think this is a case of that this is a trial balloon to see how much tolerance we had and what we pull back. I make this analogy. It's like you caught someone and they stole everything out of your house. You caught them and you told them to put it back. And when you start looking, some of it's still gone. What they're going to see is, oh, they didn't raise a stink about meteorologists or our folks who are monitoring PFAS in our water, so let's just go on with that. Or people that we don't think have a voice that we want to marginalize and demonize. So they were going to get this. And I heard Chris on his program talking with Jamie Raskin, who is the smartest person you'll find in Congress. They're never going to bring this the legal way because no Republican will vote for this. And the deafening silence of Republican governors, these are my colleagues. Some of them are my friends, but shame on you. You know what this is doing. And look, I come from a wealthy state that has the lowest childhood poverty rates, and we have a strong safety net. I guarantee you these Republican states would pay the price far more than us, and they're just silent on it. So we're going to need some courage. This is a long fight. This is ideologically everything you laid out. They want to destroy the federal government, this buyout of employees, because now they threaten them. It's here. The game is here. We knew it was coming. I don't know what people thought, that we were just speaking, that this wasn't going to happen. Donald Trump said, oh, I never heard of him. And now you got this guy Vote that's at the heart.
Okay, I was going to let him just roll for a little bit. This video is like 8.5 minutes long, but it's so much said that it's just a bunch of malarkey. And I'm sorry, y'all. I'm having a hot flash. All these lights on me. I'm burning up in my house, and it's not hot in my house at all. So it's me. So anyway, they intend to destroy the White House. No. How about what the president and his administration is doing is checking things out. Look, he wanted to take 90 days to check things out, and he said that he would not be cutting programs where funds are going directly to people in America to help them live. Okay? So there's no stopping of food stamps and things like that. There's health care, none of that is being stopped. Okay? So just quit with it. They want to double and triple and quadruple down on the foolery, which is what the liberal left likes to do, which is just put out those scare tactics like, here comes the wrecking crew to ruin your life. Look, President Trump is doing what we, his supporters, want him to do, which is take a step back, examine what's the goings on. Because while y'all making like Tim Walz is making statements as if President Trump is, what did he say? He just basically said like he's robbing people. Y'all have been doing it for years, okay? So stop with it. They're just upset that they are no longer in the driver's seat to continue doing the junk that they were doing. They were already destroying the government. So President Trump is having to come in and basically put out a bunch of fires and clean up the place. And yes, restructure. We're for it. Yes, get rid of all these unnecessary programs. We're for it. Yes, turn off that DEI foolishness, that mess. Shut it down. Yes, we are for that. Most definitely. So let's see what other crazy stuff comes out of his mouth. And like I said, I haven't seen this before, so you're literally getting my first reaction to what Tim Walz is saying here.
So look, it's on. I'm glad you said that. Governors are out there. The resistance is strong. You felt it. Americans lo and behold, like democracy and feeding their children. So they're going to fight for these things. But here's what there's a court order. Who believes Donald Trump's going to care what the courts say? Who believes he's not going to do this? We're still finding glitches in our things. We're trying to access these systems again. They're not functioning correctly. And the ludicrousness, the insult to the American public to tell us that for the first time, it was just a coincidence that the Medicaid reimbursement site glitched at the same time they froze all these programs. We have to put an end to that. We have to just say, no, it's not enough. And I got to tell you, I'm sending it out to those Republican governors. We side by side. Governors we have to deliver. We have to make sure that the water runs, that things are happening, and they're getting hammered just as much as we are.
What do you think? America's listening to you right now, thinking about what might have been had you been vice president instead of J.D. Vance. What might have been had Kamala Harris been the president right now instead of Donald.
So glad we dodged that bullet. Lord, I'm so glad. And so many of us are so glad that we dodged the bullet. I mean, the cannonball of a Harris-Walz administration. Oh my goodness, we're so blessed that didn't happen. But yeah, y'all go ahead, keep at it, keep looking back and wishing, because yeah, we're happy it didn't go down.
I think America's listening to you right now, thinking about what might have been had you been vice president instead of J.D. Vance. What might have been had Kamala Harris been the president right now instead of Donald Trump. People hearing you talking about the pushback and the fight and that mattering. What does that mean in practical terms? The average person watching you right now who agrees that this needs a big pushback, what should they do?
Yeah, and that overused term, the frog in the boiling water, we've been in the damn pot way too long. I think it is speaking up. It's thinking about your neighbors. It's writing and putting those members of Congress. Look, there is no spine amongst those folks, but this is real. This is, they're talking about defunding the police, things that they, puff their chests up and say they're good with, making the case. And I would let, to the voters, I'm with this too. Everybody's fatigued. Trust me, I get it. It was pure hell, and the disappointment and the frustration. And I'm, soul searching. What could we have done to make the case? Because we knew this was coming. We knew that the implications, and they're throwing so much at us that we're fatigued. We spent 3 days,
I just have to stop. He's like, we're fatigued. They're throwing so much at us. Yeah, because Trump is not playing with y'all. He has had 4 years to sit back and think about this and watch how you all have just marched this country almost to the brinks of destruction. And now he's having to come back in, catch a hold of the wheel, turn and try to steer it back and get it back on course. And I'm glad y'all are fatigued. I'm also glad that y'all are staying stuck in doubling and tripling and quadrupling down in the crazy mindset that you have. Because, see, the Democratic Party is scrambling at this point. They are scrambling for some viable leadership, and they're not scrambling enough because they need to find a different voice. Because as long as they keep hampering down on doing the same thing they've always done and what they were doing during, their campaign, the Harris-Walz campaign, yeah, stay stuck on stupid. Keep doing the same thing you were doing, because the American people are going to keep moving more central and moving away from y'all with that craziness, that liberal leftist propaganda that y'all speak all the time, and that he's spewing right now, making himself look just as crazy as we knew he was. And that's why we did not vote for them. Anywho, let's see what else. He's got a couple minutes left. Let's see what he's talking about.
Having them trying to debate that President Musk gave a Nazi salute. Of course he did. We knew that the implications, and they're throwing so much at us that we're fatigued. We spent 3 days, having them trying to debate that President Musk gave a Nazi salute. Of course he did. But that is a distraction from what I think you said it. This is game on stuff right here. And I am worried with these federal employees because, look, they're in a tough spot. that some of these folks, especially those that are doing good work around environmental concerns, around justice for people, around criminal justice reform, all of the things that make our society better, those folks are in there, and they're making, they put out tweets from the president's fail son who threatens people like, we're coming for you. You think this is bad or whatever. So I would tell people.
You know what they mean. It's about threatening, like trying to imply that, threatening with violence. No, we're coming for you. In other words, we are going to hold you all accountable. No more of this doing what y'all have been doing, which is doing dirt and not being accountable to anybody because y'all are all scratching each other's backs. No, son. Mm-mm. They are coming for you, and that they are going to hold you all accountable. And y'all are scrambling because you've done dirt. And then trying to flip it back and gaslight like it's coming from the Republican side. Keep on. Stay right there in that pattern. Stay right there for another 4 years, another 8 years. Stay right there because y'all never get back into the White House with that type of mindset because the American people are like, y'all are too far gone. You're too far gone.
Stay focused. Don't take the bait on the distractions. Surround yourself with people who understand this and recognize the things they went after today are basically a big chunk of what society does. And people like to have clean water and hospitals and safety.
Nobody's stopping clean water and hospital. See, there they go again. There they go. There's always throwing out the fear tactics. I hope that, like I was talking to a brother of mine earlier today on his live, I really hope people take the time to go to the website, to the government, the White House website, and check and see what it is that Trump is doing. Because what these people are telling you that he's putting a pause on for this 90-day period, what they're telling you he's doing and what's actually being done, two totally different things. So there's no need for people to panic. Oh my gosh, in our city, we're not going to have clean water. You don't even need to worry about that. They have nothing left. They have nothing else left. So they're scrambling and scratching, flailing around, and they're trying to just generate a bunch of fear. And I don't understand why they even bother, because they keep being shown to be what they truly are, which is just some instigators trying to stir up a frenzy of fear. And then it turns out you had nothing to fear but them. Tired. It's so tired. It's so tired.
And roads and airports, all the things they're going after. And you summed it up. The things they went after today are basically a big chunk of what society does. And people like to have clean water and hospitals and safety and roads and airports, all the things they're going after. And you summed it up. There's societies that function like this, where the rich and the oligarchs do everything. And there's some fabulously wealthy people who are are above the law. And the rest of us are here. And I think we have to find that voice. We have to push back. We have to.
Like your side is not the rich side. What?
To be organized. We do have to use the courts, but I just want to caution everyone. I don't know what tends us to believe that Donald Trump cares what the courts say. I think there needs to be more to that. And I think it is taking it to the individual people. Show what each of these programs does and what it means to people's lives.
Yeah, no matter what people motivated anybody's vote. If you didn't think you were voting to cut firefighting, if you didn't think you were voting to cut meat inspections, if you didn't think you were voting to cut air traffic control, well, it's all becoming very, very clear right now. Sir, Please come back anytime. It's nice to see you, and it's an honor.
Oh my gosh, I cannot. These people are so full of it. Y'all, please don't fall for this propaganda. Please don't fall for this mess. Take the time to do your due diligence. Do a little research. And you can know the truth. You can calm the fears that might be being generated by your loved ones and things like that. This is not what's happening. The president is not halting basic necessities, basic functions of the government like that. No, we're not cutting fire departments and police and all of that. That is not happening. So he looks like a total clown. Okay, Tim Walz, the clown, is looking like the clown that he is because he is making all these ridiculous statements. And like I said, yeah, keep on with it, you guys. You're doing a stand-up job. That way, there won't be a Democratic presidency for the next 8 years or better. Just stay right there. Don't leave. Don't stop. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a stand-up job. Thanks so much, you guys, for hanging out with me. And y'all, I really do appreciate it. I will see you all on the next video. Y'all take care. I'll be back soon.